Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Today is Thursday, August 14th, 2025. The TDC meeting will convene. We'll call it to order. We'd rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Go to a roll call, please. Here.
Here.
James Townsend.
Here.
Rob Wells. Here. Brian Kramer.
Here. Through the wire.
Councilman Bill. Councilman Bill Stein.
Here.
Councilman Matthew Cole. Vice Mayor Hollis Smith. Councilman Liston Mayor Dan Howard. And Bill Washington are excused due to the law.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda will be public to be heard. Anyone from the public? See none. I'll close that. Municipalities to be heard.
Howdy, howdy. Ashley Anderson, City of Cape Coral. Living 10 miles away, coming into the city, and we are up 2.3% since last year. Also, visitors spend $378 million out of market visitors are spending, and we're doing that by taking the foot traffic, multiplying that obviously by credit card usage, and then extrapolating that number. Additionally, you can see that Miami is actually our most visited population coming to our area, well, Cape Coral, and that is up 20% from last year. And Cape Coral Summer Draws. So we are going to talk a little bit about Slipaway Food Truck. That started in July, and we have seen over 50,000 visitors. And we hope that number continues to grow. It's been a very successful development. And Red White Boom, also to report that, 26,000 attendees, and that through, that through foot traffic and via geospace the area, and so that's about what it was last year. So next up, what's on our horizon? We have the Labor Day weekend Manatee Man Triathlon. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there and racing each other. And that's going to be on the 31st of August. And you can sign up at the link below. And you can obviously send that to all of your networks because we want it to be a big event. Additionally, we are trying to participate in the Island Hopper Songwriter Festival. Cape Coral segment is on the 22nd and 23rd. We're trying to amplify that. Obviously it's run by VCB and put out by VCB, but we're trying to spread the word by reposting social media posts and trying to get deals through the local businesses, and then also marketing on our website. Our tourism spotlight for this month is the Museum of History. I don't know if anybody has actually gone over there. I know it's a a quiet, it's a quiet museum, but it is packed with information. Very, very, very fascinating place. So if you have any tourists coming in, it really is an interesting place to go. They have a lot of memorabilia and photos from the past. It's very affordable, and you can go and see that on Cultural Park Boulevard. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
On your first slide, you came up with your tourist spend that was based on foot traffic. How much foot traffic is there on Pine Island Road?
Well, I'd have to look that up, but specifically on Pine Island Road, we'd have to look that up. This particular data set is the perimeter and the barrier of Cape Coral City. So if you want to...
Last I checked, Pine Island Road is in the city.
Yeah, but I don't have that specific POI.
Okay, thank you.
But I can get it for you if you want.
Hey, thanks for the presentation. The DMAs where their people are coming from.
Yes.
How did you pull that information?
So again, it's an extrapolated number. So let me see here. So it's the metro and micro regions of where they're coming from. So it takes the top 10 or top 20, and then I just put the top 5.
I guess, like, are you using their, like, tracking their cell phones, or are you
Yes,
getting
yes.
hotels to tell?
Yes, sorry, I didn't understand.
Yes.
So Placer AI is a foot traffic tool that takes your cell phone. So this number is even lower than probably what it is because your phone has to be on, your location has to be on, and you have to be using a cell phone, right? So these are numbers not only from the cell phone, but also it's cross-checked with credit card usage. Yeah.
And typically, just because we use Pacer AI as well, typically, it's the way you set it up so it's out of area phone. Like we set it up so it's out of area phones. We're not tracking, we're not as interested in local traffic moving around, but we're more interested in who are visitors from out of the area. So meaning that phone is primarily in a zip code that is not a local zip code. I assume you're doing the same.
Yeah, that's exactly how we're
It's
using it.
all how you set it up.
Well,
But
and that's why I mentioned about Pine Island Road. It is possible to get specific information on, developments, and that's how we did like Slipaway and roads and areas like that. But you'd have to set it up so that you can track that within the next 30 days. Is how you do it.
Do you know what the out of area is by zip code that the phone is registered to, or is it by area code that the phone is?
it's where it primarily resides. So, example, my daughter who lives in Charlotte has a Fort Myers phone number because she got her phone here, but it's going to say that her phone primarily is in the Charlotte, North Carolina market.
Sure identifies origination calls. So if 150 calls a month are made from Charlotte and it made 6 from Fort Myers.
Primarily Charlotte, correct.
Yeah, and maybe also that to piggyback off that, you see visit nights here. We're not talking about people who are coming to eat dinner and then go out of the city. It is able to determine an entire night. So those numbers are pretty spot on. And again, this is also not just for hotels. This is people spending night, whether with their family, in an Airbnb, hotel, whatever. We're just talking about their presence in the city within a 24-hour or 8-hour night period. That makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Any other municipalities be heard? None, I'll close that. I did pass over the approval for the June 12th minutes. Can I have an approval?
So moved.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any comments? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion carried unanimously. Next is presentations. Neither Fish Company, Marty and Joey.
Restaurant Group, which is the owner-operator of Doc Ford's Rum Bar and Grills, 4 stores here in Lee County and up in Pinellas, and also the Dixie Fish Company, and our newest venture, which is the Bonita Fish Company. And we've had quite a great run here. From the chair, Kevin, and Kevin said, Harity, you never met a microphone you didn't like. Make this short, pal. So having gotten those instructions from Kevin, who I had the pleasure of working with on city council for a lot of years, and I thought it best to bring my partner, one of my partners, Joe Harity, in here, who ramrodded the entire Bonita Beach program, or Bonita Fish program, and let him kind of fill you in on where we are. So having said that, here's the guy who made it all happen, Joe Harity.
Thank you. Sorry, we don't have a presentation. You have to stare at this desktop. But so we're getting really, really close. We're hoping to open middle of October, sometime in that time frame. We're finishing, as we speak, our menu build out. So that's a lot of fun for us internally. We're testing a lot of food and stuff. And, we're getting our hood inspection actually tomorrow. So that'll be wrapped up. So the place is starting to look like something. It's starting to look like a restaurant you can occupy. And we're going to do our health inspection next week. So it's all moving ahead. So we're really excited. Middle of October is our deadline to open. And then the next project with that are the docks. That's something that a lot of people have been asking about. The plan is to rebuild the docks in the same exact footprint, so it's roughly 35 slips or so. We're gonna rent those out long term, year leases. Hopefully, we'll have probably 15 to 20 of those allocated for restaurant use, which will be great. So it'll be the same footprint, but they'll be floating docks, which will be great. Happy to contribute to a lot of the the growth, Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel, Captiva, Cape Coral, and just places that are continuing to reopen. With all of the news about the purchase of Bonita Fish, the Bonita Bills, I think we're just super happy to see all the support with what people have said about how we're really not changing a whole lot. We're kind of trying to preserve that culture of what Bonita Bills was and that old Florida feel. And
Joe.
How many will you seat in there? And this is a lunch dinner?
Yeah, so we're going to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're actually going to do brunch. Bonita Bills had breakfast, and they had a pretty good following. We want to just kind of capitalize on that. So we're going to do brunch Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're aiming for 9 to like 2 or 3. Still up in the air, and we'll do lunch there.
Is that going to be great?
No, it'll be all afternoon. We'll have a shorter brunch menu, 5, 6, 7 items. Seats will be about 200 seats or so. And then once the docks are done, that will be the deck that's going to be built out between Dixie and Bonita. So we're not sure how many seats will be.
Joe, would you talk a little bit about your meeting space there? I think for some of the people in the room, to have an additional meeting space at Fort Myers Beach, I think there's a lot of value.
So next to Bonita Fish, they have that event space that we just renovated. We're calling that Bayside, that Bonita Fish Company. That can hold events up to 120 people or so, inside, outside seating. For right now, if you have an event, we have a couple events we're booking now. The food will also come from Doc Ford until Bonita Fish opens. Food will come from there, but it's a really cool space. It's all completely renovated. We can do any type of events, birthdays, weddings, receptions, anything like that. So, waterfront, inside and outside seating. So,
awesome.
Thank you for asking that. I forgot to mention that.
Just a couple follow-ups. How many locations do you have now?
So there's 4 Doc Fords, Dixie Fish, and one Bonita Fish Company.
And how many people do you approximately employ?
Just under 500.
Great. Thank you so much. Good job. Anything else? Appreciate the opportunity. You actually listened to me, Marty. Wow.
It's going, Joe. Very good, Joe. Very good.
Next person is Jackie Bizak. I saw you. Hey, Jack.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jackie Zach. I'm the president and CEO of the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for having me this morning. I do have to put a little plug in for the Bayside event space that they have at the Bonita Fish Company. I keep calling it Bonita Bills, so I apologize. It's kind of great. Our board did its retreat there last month for the first retreat since before COVID, which was amazing. They took super big care of us. It was a perfect spot for a board retreat, team building, groups like that, and the food was delicious and the staff was fantastic. So thank you to the whole group and Harry Family for that. And Joe Harry is on our board as well, but your efficiency missed it. So quickly recap on Q1 and Q2 of 2025. I think how we're going to do this going forward is a couple of quarters together to kind of make it a little easier. What's happening out on Fort Myers Beach, spend visitor information, and obviously the grant funds that we received from you. Thank you again for that. It is absolutely making a huge difference out on the beach and allowing us to do things that we've never been able to do before. So I'm going to make sure I know how to do this. Let's see. Just a quick table of contents for you guys. Our Roxy Visitor Center remains open. It is the little Airstream trailer that is being donated to us for use out on the base of Times Square. We are seeing, even in this heat with the rain, upwards of 100 people a day out there. We are having to intermittently keep it open and closed because of the weather, because of the heat. You know, it's hard to keep visitors out there. So because of that, we are actively looking at building something that looks similar to this, a tiny home on wheels that will be our new Roxy Visitor Center. It will be about the same size as the little Airstream. It'll be on a trailer. It's completely portable. We're already approved by the town to have that in the same location. And we should hopefully start that build in the next month or so. And the beautiful thing about this is we'll be able to take it all kinds of places. So we won't always be just stationed there. We'll be able to remove it and take it out if we have an event somewhere that we want to talk about Fort Myers Beach and share visitor information. We certainly can move it. And of course, ever present, we can get it off in the case of another big windy thing that comes along that we don't see that word. So please, you know, we're doing everything we can out there to ward that away. So we're super excited about that. More to come the next quarter. This is just some direct guest interactions. It's just a sampling of what we're doing because I did Q1 and Q2. These are some of the questions that we're getting asked out there on a daily basis. You know, the first time here, where do I go to eat? I'm looking for a beach bar. I need a snow cone. You know, what's going on? I need an Ian update. And the conversations we have out there are wide, varied, and anyone can come and volunteer with us. So if you're a business owner, you want to spend an hour or two out there and help us out and talk to the folks, please come out. It's an opportunity to promote your own business. It's an opportunity to promote Fort Myers Beach and let folks know what all's going on out there and the new and exciting things that are happening. And you can see it's a pretty varied group, even for May. May is, you know, coming off the season. It's getting slower. People are finishing up school, you know, and yet we have folks coming from kind of all over the country and from all over the world. We are continuing our Where's Roxy program. This is a fun event that we do on Fridays. We go out in the morning and we highlight different businesses in and around Fort Myers Beach. You do not have to be a chamber member to have your business visited or to have us come out. We get a group of our chamber members, friends, locals, ambassadors, and they go out to these different businesses to learn about the business and to see what's going on out there so they can come back and not only promote Fort Myers Beach, but also promote Southwest Florida in general. So a lot of fun things that we're doing, and of course, everyone is welcome to join that. If you have a business and you would like us to come and visit your business and do a highlight for a Where's Roxy, please let us know. We would love to do that. And we are actively looking for the fall and season a full-time Roxy manager that will help to coordinate all these types of events and do some more outreach stuff. So just a small sampling of what's going on, but great fun, and we would like to invite all of you to come out and do a Where's Roxy with us. Everyone's welcome. And usually there's no cost to it. The businesses have been generous enough to offer that up for free for us. we've gone to in the first 2 quarters, the Zero Bay Aquatic Preserve, they did a wading program, the Train Village. We went out for airboats and, love those guys on the train. I love to see adults at play, right? I mean, here's these big kids there on a little tiny train having a good time. So most of them didn't even know that was there. We all live here and we don't even know what's in our own backyard. So another opportunity to spread the word about amazing Southwest Florida. One of the projects that we continue, and we're doing this now 3 times a year, is our island map and guide. And it's basically the map of our whole island, where our beach accesses are, the tram and trolley information. We print about 5,000 of these a time, and we are running through probably 4 or 5 prints every 3 months for this map. They are flying off the shelves. Shout out to Pink Shell. They're putting them in their vacation rentals, and they're asking for 1,000 at a time and using those up pretty quickly. And on the back of this, each of the folks who we have as sponsors helping cover some of the costs have a QR code. You can go right to their business, get a deal, find out how to find them. And it's a super easy way for a guest to tear one off, make notes on it, hold it up, put it in their pocket, their purse, whatever, and take it with them. And of course, we have our weekly chamber chatter. Many of you in this room did that on Monday mornings. It's just our weekly email that goes out. We talk about what's coming up the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in Southwest Florida, on Fort Myers Beach, and in the surrounding area. So it kind of gives people a quick snapshot of, Monday morning, it takes you 3 minutes to roll through it and see what's catching your eye and get more information about the different things that are going on. More membership outreach. We are constantly looking, obviously, to grow our chamber membership, to retain our chamber members, because that does help to support us. So we like to put these things out that shows we are bringing value back, not only to your business and to your employees and to the residents on the island, but to the greater Southwest Florida area as well. So this is just some of the different membership materials that we are utilizing to help continue our growth and to sustain ourselves. And visitor outreach. We've got a lot of really great things going on that we have never, as a chamber, been able to do before. I've never had marketing dollars to spend to help the chamber and or Fort Myers Beach and or Southwest Florida. So this kind of stuff has really made a huge difference for us. We actually have printed materials now, which is exciting. We have our iPad and mobile apps that we're running. And of course, I do a whole lot of podcasting and getting out there. I'll come out and talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere about Fort Myers Beach. I mean, if you've got an opportunity to come speak, small group, big group, on a podcast, on a TV show, whatever, I'm all ears and I'm happy to do it. And we'll come out. So this is one of the podcasts down at the bottom that I was lucky to be asked to help out with, and it's really been successful. Spread that great word out there. We continue with our Sunday Bayside Veterans Park concert series. I invite you all to come out on Sunday evenings, 4 to 7. It's free. We have a different local band every week. Again, keeping it local, trying to support the bands that are here in our backyard that are also residents of our community. The surrounding businesses help to sponsor this. Businesses on the island help to sponsor. If you're a nonprofit, we offer you space free. You can come out, set up a table, share your nonprofit information. If you are a business and would like to sponsor, please let us know. It's very, very reasonable. You can set up a tent, and we're seeing anywhere between 200 and 1,000 people on Sunday night. And on an evening where we would have nobody down there. And it has been super successful. This is actually run now for over a year and a half, every Sunday night, weather permitting. Super excited to announce we're going to start a Friday night series as well in September. We're going to start Labor Day weekend. We've got a huge band that is going to be our first kickoff band. So we will have live music Friday and Sunday night for free for the community. So it's a great way to encourage people to come out, come for lunch, come for an early dinner, watch a show, and then the Tiki Lighthouse Bar has a reggae band following us. So you can go from here, go over and listen to some reggae to finish up your Sunday night. And this is one of the flyers that's coming up. This was a June show that we had done. And you can see all the sponsors down on the bottom. So media coverage, again, I continue to do whatever I can to keep our name in the media up front and center. We've got a pretty good list of media partners that I work with, that I send press releases out to. I get calls every week to talk about Fort Myers Beach and our story, to talk about Southwest folks, I have to tell you, there is still a perception that we are not open for business out there. And we are working really hard with Tam and her team to change that perception, even in our own backyard. So my ask of all of you today is to make sure that every single person who you have contact with in your, I'll call it the Rolodex, right? The Rolodex, and please let them know we're open. Please let them know Sandal Island is open, Pine Island is open. We are up, we are running, we're having a great time out there. We've got great summer specials going on. Please come out and visit us because we want to get over that hump about, we're closed, we're damaged, there's still debris everywhere. I get calls every single day. And no, come on out, come on down. It's time to come back. It's okay. You need to make peace with it. Come out, see how it's changed. Great things are happening. We're growing. There's construction going on. There's new homes. There's new families moving in. There's new businesses opening up. So please come out and support us. We continue to work with Visit Florida very, very closely, Destination Magazine, to promote Fort Myers Beach and the surrounding area. We're taking advantage of every opportunity Visit Florida has, and also with the BCD, any of the different programs. I know we just had our meeting for our media share program, so we'll be jumping in on some of those things as well. Those are the great programs. If no one out there has done those, please look into them. Just like Sandal Island, it's like every week something's happening. We've got a ribbon cutting, a grand opening, something new to show, something new to talk about, and some of our old favorites like SOB just open and it's packed all the time. We're putting great food out, so please come down. We can't wait to do the new Bonita Fish Company opening. As you can see, we had our library in the first quarter. We had Seaside open up in the first quarter. So it's exciting to be able to welcome all of these folks back. And I did run some accommodation numbers on the island, Tam. I need to get those updated numbers to you. But it looks like we're running about 60% now of our pre-hurricane accommodations open. We've had quite a few of the condos pop open here in the last couple of months with a few more coming. So the condos definitely on the upswing. And I think I'm bullish on the fall season with our snowbirds coming home. I'm waiting for those car carriers, guys. I'll let you know when I see the first one coming over the bridge because that's like the first robin of spring and the fall thing when the car carriers come and they go. That's how we know that the snowbirds are coming. Some search performance and page views. Our website just amazes me. Continues to be the website that's out front. I get calls for the Edison Ford Museum. I get calls for the Broadway Home. I get calls for the Key West Express. Our website is just smoking right now, and we're getting some really good traffic on it. And it's interesting to see where they're coming from. United States, Canada, always 1 and 2, right? But Germany, UK, Switzerland, Italy, Netherlands, France. So we do have folks looking at us from abroad, although we are not seeing the traffic now that we are normally seeing at this time of year. We are very, very slow comparatively. And we had, with your Let's Listen program last week, we all talked about that, and thank you for the recap on that. Yes, all of those things that you hit were spot on about the messages coming back out. And of course, here's some quick page view detail. It's a lot, guys, but what I really like to see is I'm looking at the year over year, and if you can see, we're trending up since the storm. I mean, every month, pretty consistently trending up on those page views. So that's really my takeaway. It's a lot of data, but our impressions, March 2025, look at 2 million Google impressions. I mean, that's we're talking about before COVID. I mean, we're in the area before COVID, so I know we're on the right track. We're doing the right things. Always room for improvement, of course. This is not my world, but I'm learning. So I was asking about the Placer AI because I'm looking at that right now as well for us. So all kind of things that we're able to do. I apologize for the darkness of these slides down on the bottom. Again, not my world. I'm not the IT guy, but basically what I'm looking at there is the uptrend tip on our followers on the pages, and then
Great job. Appreciate it, Jackie. Thank you so much. I'm going to move the new business up. I know there's one other person other than myself that will leave a little prematurely. So I'm going to move the new business up so we can deal with the voting items. That's okay with everyone. So the first item is the approval of the third quarter FY25 budget reports.
Good morning, everyone. I'm your fiscal manager, April Green, for the record. As usual, our operating budgets are running like a fine-tuned machine. We are right on target. The operating budget for VCB operations is pacing right at 67% of budget. And the next slide is the beach and shoreline budget. It's pacing at 68% of the budget. The sports development budget, it is pacing right at 74%. And really nothing to chatter about. If you have any questions for me or for Tam, I'm here to answer those. If not, could I get a motion to accept the budgets?
Any questions? If not,
This just always makes so much sense, and you guys just done a fabulous job of keeping a budget and doing what's supposed to happen and making us practice.
Oh, thank you very much. The managers are very, very in tune with their budgets.
any other comments or questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. FY25-26 proposed budget report.
So on the proposed budget report that was provided to you, I think in your emails a week or so ago, and I'm basically here to answer any questions that you may have of me or Tam. And if not, a motion to accept the proposed budget as presented.
Give up.
Second.
Second, okay. Motion second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Formalize the year-end 26 events and attraction funding.
Good morning, Council. Allison Geeson. Recognize and thank the TDC Marketing Subcommittee, who spent time reviewing 46 requests and participated. It is for the events marketing program, which has a budget of $200,000. We received 11 requests for funding, totaling $228,000. A public workshop was held on June 12th, and the TDC subcommittee recommended funding all 11 of the requests with a total of $200,000. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Could I get a motion for approval for the allocation?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Thank you so much. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. The second request is for the attractions marketing program, which has a budget of $600,000. We received 35 requests totaling $876,183. In a public workshop that was held on August 6th, the TDC subcommittee recommended funding all 35 requests with a total of $600,000. Both recommendations will be published on the Lee VCB website once they are approved. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Sure.
So this was a very interesting year. You know, 35% $230,000 over our budget. And I just would like to jump into the workshop. I don't continue to talk about it yet. There's just one issue I And so I think that the one thing that we probably need to discuss, and it doesn't have to be a workshop, it's just something we need to talk about, is that perhaps we don't do that anymore, because I think it's a little unfair to those organizations to anticipate that and to spend the time and effort making those applications. So if we're not going to offer them that money, then we should not offer it to them. And so I would like to have that discussion, and perhaps you could send a little information out about, that little bit of discussion to the entire TDC so that they can visit that and decide if that makes sense. So that's the only thing I have to say. Other than that, we worked very hard, 30 applications, and about anywhere from 10 to 25 pages each was a lot to review, and the committee was fabulous, and we worked really hard, and we spent a long time discussing these, and we were very methodical in our discussions, and I think everybody cared very much about making sure that very small organizations, which, as you all know, I have been an advocate to make sure that they are helped a lot. And but I think that we might want to revisit that and say, this is the number. So.
Some of what Pam said, a lot of the big organizations, they were all cut in order to make our number. And I would like to ask Tam if we can look at that number and see if we have room within our within the bed tax to raise that number and possibly split it in two, with one pot of about 200,000 or less for those that are 100,000 visitors and above, and then one pot for those that are not. And I believe there was 7. I believe the number was 7 groups that applied for the 50,000, which took out half the budget if we would have fully funded them. And we had, out of the 35 that had applied.
So I just want to make sure I understand. Are we talking about keeping the number 600 and splitting off 200, or are we talking about trying to identify additional allocations for this program? Because I want to hear you correctly.
I would look at the allocation amount to see if there's room to increase that, and if there's a way to separate the two sizes, because it is unfair to the smaller groups that need the money that over half of it is gone. The top 7, or I believe the number was 7, organizations, 6.
And may I make a comment on that too? It used to be that way. We have the CCC, which the Convention Council's no longer.
Got a couple though. The numbers are growing.
Ward Home, which were our two, mainstay. And then I think we might have even added Ding Darling to it one time when they were like at 1 million, right, people coming in here. And so it was funny. So for the first, 15 years that I remember doing this funding, or so, that's how it was. So they were separated. We would review their applications, and as long as they made sense and they were sufficient, they were separate from the funding. And then the smaller guys just had the opportunity to, vie for the rest of the money that was there. So, you know what? Everything old is new again. And, we need to keep revisiting these things. But I just felt very uncomfortable this year with the allocations, because we made the change 3 or 4 years ago, I'm guessing 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. And then, so we opened the opportunity for the larger organizations. It just seemed a little unfair to me. So, but I am happy with this funding. I think we did our very best to fund everyone and make it fair for everyone. And we used every dollar, down to less, there was 30 cents that we didn't fund. But other than that, I think it was good. Rob, we didn't, somebody asked for something and 30 cents and we didn't give them that, because I know you're a number cruncher. Just say it. So, okay, but I think that, I think we need more information. I think anybody who wasn't in the committee needs to have an opportunity to kind of look at that and make your own opinions on it. And so, but I don't think we need a workshop. I don't think we need to spend 2 hours talking about this, so.
Bill? At the end of the day, all of the 35, except for 2, had reductions from their ask, if you will. And so with the 2 brackets being $25,000 and $50,000 maximums, if everyone asked for the maximum, we're not even close. So since the 25 is there for the lower ones, and they got reduced as well, the ones that qualify for $50,000, they're going to get reduced as well. And the only way to be able to help everyone out would be to not max fund those 50,000s. And so we certainly can have the discussion. I think it is value that everyone that ultimately votes on it, as we will today, would understand the challenge of it and certainly have input to the rules and the mentality that comes around making the decisions. But the ask is always going to be more than our budget unless something changes dramatically. And to be able to spread the support, just the reductions just have to be there.
I think it's inevitable that we end up with more requested than we have available. Even if we doubled the amount of money, there's just so much opportunity within the community for organizations of this nature. So I think we're always going to be a little bit challenged, but I think we can, as a team, put together some things for you to consider. We do not have a meeting in September, so it would be our October meeting, but I think we can get something together that would make sense. We'll also, because not everybody here reviewed all 35 applications, we'll post those somewhere. So if you want to go and look at those applications, I'm not forcing you to read them, but I'm giving you the opportunity if you want to, so you can see what they look like. And then, you can have a discussion. We'll put that on the agenda if it's appropriate with the chair next month. Or, excuse me, October, next meeting.
But on that note, we know that many of the smaller organizations, since it's a reimbursement, everybody's not going to apply for $25,000. And I love the small organizations that say, this is what we need and this is what will help us. And I have always, those are the ones, that's how this program started. It was arts and attractions, and that's how it started. And we wanted to help those little guys. Like years ago, I remember the Science Center in North Fort Myers had like a budget of like $40,000 for the year for their entire budget. And they were one of the organizations that we went, we want to help you, So everybody's not going to apply for $25,000 because it doesn't make sense. They'll never be able to get a reimbursement on that. So I think that the ones that make sense. And so, okay, good. Sorry. This is just very dear to my heart.
Good discussion. Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Make the motion.
On the floor, I have a second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Allison. Allison did a fabulous job. She worked so hard on this, so we so love that.
Pam still had beach and Shoreline. These projects, attraction.
Nancy Fee.
Oh, yeah, but who? Okay.
It's a lot.
Appreciate it. Now we'll go back to the executive director's report.
All right. Bed tax collections in both, since we did not have a meeting last month, you're going to see 2 months of data. Bed tax collections for May were up almost 14%, and just a little under 8% for June. Fiscal year to date, we're at almost 3 million, about a 6% increase over this point last year. Of course, that's lagging a bit, as you saw in your proposed budget report, to what we had projected. But of course, we didn't know when we made those projections last summer that we were going to have Hilton, as I call them, Helene and Milton, visit our area and slow us down a little bit. So that is definitely impacting that bottom line, but we are running ahead. I'm going to, honestly, they're in your packet. I know some of you love to see this year-over-year comparison on all of these stats, but for time, I will skip over these, but they are there for you. Star report, occupancy down for May, ADR up, and of course RevPAR up. We're driving rate, but not occupancy, it seems. And similarly, again, I'm going to skip over those. You see the same thing for June, occupancy down, ADR up, and then calendar year to date, occupancy down, ADR up, but a little bit of a decline in RevPAR. As we continue to bring more units on, it's hard to drive that occupancy number, so we are struggling a little bit there with the occupancy side. In terms of the vacation rentals, our key data dashboard, in May, occupancy up, ADR up, and RevPAR up, but obviously occupancy at a very different number than what you're seeing in the hotels. And similarly for June, you will see occupancy up, ADR up, and RevPAR up, and then there's your calendar year to date through June on the vacation rentals. In terms of our hotel room count, and I know Jackie mentioned a 60% number, this is hotel room specific, does not include condominiums. That's a much more difficult number to track, but you see that we are at 84.4% of pre-Ian hotel rooms, and we will continue to track this every month. We do post this online for those listening, so if anybody wants to see the latest, greatest number, if you go to levecb.com, you can always get the latest version of this chart. Activity at the airport down slightly in May and up slightly in June, and year-to-date down just 1.5%. I think that's a real testament to the demand for our area. We know air service has been off all over the country, especially in second-tier markets, and I really am grateful for the very strong performance we see at RSW. All right, I have two other things before Pamela comes up. Sorry, Pamela, I'm a little slow here. I want to introduce to you a new staff member with the VCB, Ashley Smith. She's our new brand campaign manager. Ashley, will you stand up? Stand over here so they can see you. Thank you so much. Ashley is a results-driven marketing professional with a strong background in strategy, brand development, content creation, and media buying. In her most recent role, she championed development and production of national and regional campaigns for over 500 franchise locations of Godfather's Pizza. And before that, she worked for an ad agency called OBI, where she planned multi-channel campaigns and oversaw client engagement. She is a native of Nebraska and earned her degree in journalism and mass communication with a focus on advertising from Creighton. And we're really lucky. She is already familiar with the area. Her sister and her niece and nephew, is that right? Niece and nephew live in Cape Coral, so she had visited the area quite a bit, and her parents are here, so she was really happy to move to Lee County. She lives in Cape Coral, so welcome, Ashley. And we do have a couple of other positions that we're in the process of filling, so you'll be hearing a few of these over time, but we're working real hard to try to get fully staffed. Yes, sir.
I had a question. The space that we have at the airport,
yes, sir,
for our reach out, is that donated to us, or do we have to pay for that?
No, the Port Authority provides us with that space in exchange for the service we provide to the airport.
Okay, all right, great. In a public view, there was a discussion around, with the expansion of the airport, that rental rates inside of the airport for those businesses that take up space is going to grow up relatively dramatically. I didn't know if that would have any effect on us at all.
No, as we don't pay, that multiplication ends up being a zero change in, in it. But we're grateful for that space as they are grateful for the service we provide.
Great, thank you.
It's a great partnership.
Absolutely.
I have one more thing I want to say before we get going on the reports from the departments. We held 3 listening sessions last week, and I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who participated. There are a few people in this room that were there, and there are a lot of people probably watching online that were also there. Very, very valuable insight gained from those conversations. We did send out a summary of what we heard. I've heard back from several people that they really feel like that summary was a good capture on the conversations. But we also sent out along with that list, the summary was a link to, if you could not join us, please give us your feedback on what's going on in your business, a little survey, about a 4-question survey. So any partners that are listening that were unable to join us that would like to give some feedback, please do so. We value that feedback very, very much. And Brian and I cannot wait to share with you what we heard and how we're incorporating that into our plan when we have our annual meeting in November. So stay tuned for more on that. Ray is unable to join us today, so the communications report is in your packet. With that, I'm going to bring up Pamela Johnson, who's going to present the sales report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. It's been a minute since I've been up here giving the report. As you all know, our colleague Jill Vance retired, and we are actively in the hunt for a new director of sales. So I am presenting our group and domestic sales activities today. To start by a little bit of context to my discussion, I want to touch on what's happening in the broader landscape of meetings and group travel. Overall, we're seeing group bookings with shorter lead times and smaller budgets and definitely more scrutiny. This is happening nationally and locally. We heard similar comments expressed last week. As Tam just mentioned, we had the listening sessions. So when it comes to group travel, things are a little bit all over the place. Some properties are doing really, really well and with very strong outlooks, and some are not doing as well. Florida continues to be a top destination due to the ease of access and also obviously the weather, but competitions amongst destinations is really intense. And, we have a lot of new product and luxury product being built in our neighboring communities. So that's a factor that, that's always in play. And we're navigating that landscape by staying visible and proactive, and we have a relationship-driven sales approach. So let's get into our KPIs. This slide right here shows our year-to-date performance against our goals across several sales metrics. We sourced over 272,000 group room nights, and we're slightly behind pace, but trending in the right direction. Our booked group room nights are pacing ahead at 39,400. We're seeing a softening in wedding leads for this quarter, which mirrors the national trends. Our FAM attendees, site attendee numbers, and community engagement goals are pacing on target or slightly ahead. So these numbers reflect both a mix of challenges and opportunities, especially given the industry-wide shift towards shorter planning windows and smaller meetings. And so now I want to talk about some of the sales activities that cover April through June. Our attendance at meeting planner trade shows remains important to our lead generation strategy. During this time period, we participated in events such as Helms Briscoe's Annual Business Conference, MPI's World Education Conference, and others. And so these events bring us face-to-face with meeting planners and who are actively sourcing destinations. Switching over to the travel trade, one highlight that I'd like to present this quarter was our Florida West Coast Sales Mission. It was led by Jennifer Walla on our team in collaboration with local hotel partners. This is when we go out as a group and we sell the destination before we sell our individual hotels, what there is to see and do. We talk to travel advisors who are still very much in play. The sales mission focused obviously on Florida-based travel advisors, many of whom obviously are booking within the state. And it's a chance to position Lee County as a top option for clients looking for authentic, family-friendly, couples-friendly vacations that are all within a short drive. We're also honored to be included in Visit Florida's and Travel Weekly's Advisors as Ambassadors program. So this initiative brought 16 top performing travel advisors to Florida to explore eight of the state's top destinations, including our own. We hosted 2 travel advisors in Lee County, and they experienced restaurants, attractions, beaches, and all of the great hospitality in our destination firsthand, and then shared their experiences with their networks and their clients on an educational webinar hosted by Travel Weekly. So this type of peer-to-peer recommendation carries incredible weight, especially in this very experience-driven planning environment. Looking ahead, we have several important activities on the calendar as planners continue to book later and expect more tailored experiences. We're really doubling down on anything that's high-touch engagement. Those opportunities allow us to showcase the destination in person. So in conclusion, before Charm comes up, I'd like to just leave you with these 3 takeaways. And that is meetings and group travel are definitely maintaining. There is softness in the market, but the appetite for authentic coastal Florida experience remains high. Our team is actively working with meeting planners, travel advisors, travel trade to keep Lee County top of mind. Through visibility, partnerships, relationships, and qualified lead generation. So to talk about what's happening a little bit in the international space, here's Charm Evans, our Global Sales Manager.
Thank you, Pamela.
Good morning. As Pamela stated, I'm Charm Evans, the Global Sales Manager, reporting on the activities for the international market from April through June. We are keeping an eye on the market sentiment and working closely with our international teams, travel trade partners, as well as the Lee County Port Authority to ensure that we are staying on top of those latest developments as we are staying committed to our key markets while looking at new market opportunities and trends in assessing our strategies to remain actively involved in our marketing initiatives, consumer events, training sessions, and travel trade activities so that we keep Lee County top of mind for those international visitors. Some of these activities include our Visit Florida Canadian Sales Mission that we participated in Toronto, where the team engaged with 60 travel advisors, tour operators, and airline partners, as well as some destination education FAMs that were conducted, where our region hosted a joint collaboration with the Bradenton area, CVB, and that consisted of 8 product managers from the Germany and Swiss market. And we also worked with Brand USA on their mega FAM event, where we had 12 Italian and Swiss advisors in the destination for a half a day to get a taste of our islands, beaches, and neighborhoods. While they were here for a short time, we did engage with the group and showed them our various offerings and genuine uniqueness of the destination. In addition to that, we participated in Visit Florida, or USTA's IPW that took place in Chicago. We held over 140 pre-scheduled meetings over the course of 3 days, where we worked and chatted with global travel trade professionals from all over the world to discuss trends, destination insights, and cooperative marketing opportunities. IPW reinforces our ongoing commitment to rebuilding and growing the international visitation to Canada, including the Association of Canadian Travel Agents Industry Summit, and we will be participating in the Selling Travel North American Agent Training events taking place in London, Bristol, Leeds, and Edinburgh. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charm. Ask Simone to give us the visitor service report.
Good morning, Simone Bayer, giving you the update on visitor services for the third quarter, April through June. You can see the third quarter totals on this slide. The fiscal year to date, our volunteers assisted 809,452 visitors and residents at the airport. They worked 25,305 volunteer hours at a value to the county of $804,699. They assisted at 16 different special projects. The top request during that time period for accommodations was the Drury Inn at the airport, Margaritaville Beach Resort, and the Residence Inn also at the airport. The top attractions, aside from the beaches, was Ding Darling, Edison and Fort Winter Estates, as well as 6 Mile Cypress Slough. Top activities was canoeing, kayaking, fishing, and going to local restaurants. On April 4th, we celebrated our volunteers at the 35th Annual Tourism Ambassador Appreciation Luncheon, which took place at the Marriott Santa Barbara Resort. And thanks to so many of you who were there honoring our volunteers. We appreciate that. We were involved in various community and partner support events, such as the Fine Mark Women's Tennis Championship at Bonita Bay, an event at Sydney Byrne Davis Arts Center, as well as the Destinations Florida Marketing Summit at the Westin. And did you know there is such a thing as National Superhero Day? It's every year on April 28th, and we feel that our volunteers are superheroes. So on that day, we did have capes for them, and they were able to greet the traveling public all day long in the capes, and we did have a lot of fun with that. Big thank you to our partners for hosting our volunteers on various destination education training sessions, such as the Wonder Gardens and Sugar Shack, Lee County Solid Waste, and the Barrows Home and Gardens. 2 special projects that took place. We celebrated National Travel and Tourism Week with our dolphin and manatee outreach at RSW in early May. And then June 21st, we celebrate National Seashell Day with our volunteers handing out shell-shaped lollipops at the airport. Looking ahead, a big thank you to Shangri-La Resort for hosting our volunteers in September. And then just over a week away, next Friday, August 22nd, we'll be celebrating the 25th Annual E-Awards right downtown here at Clusa Sound. And I know so many of you will be there honoring our hospitality and allied industries employees. Thank you so much. And that's it for me, if there's any questions.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Simone. Now I'd like to ask James to come up and give us an overview of the April through June research report, visitor tracking, occupancy, and economic impact.
Awesome. Happy to be here. Thanks for the introduction, Tam. For those of you who don't know me, I'm James Brindle from Downs and St. Germain Research. You're probably used to seeing my boss, our president and CEO, Joseph St. Germain. He couldn't be here today. He's up in Minnesota with his family, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be presenting for my first time alone. So let's hope it goes well. Luckily, Oh.
You're the data guy, so
Yeah.
you're the one that does this.
I have some good news data to present, which isn't always the case. So I got a little bit lucky on my first presentation here. So we'll jump first into some general overview of KPIs. Again, as I said, I got lucky and we have some good year-over-year comparisons. So nearly 863,000 total visitors, nearly 1.1 million room nights, paid room nights, and nearly 771 million in direct spend for the quarter, respectively up about 7% for each of the first two and 3% for the direct spend. And again, as we'll see once we get to the 3-4 year comparison, you're still on the recovery trajectory, as you all know better than me. So because of that, you have some easier comps, compared to what some other destinations might have. So whereas a lot of other destinations, especially in Florida right now, are down year over year or very slightly up year over year, you guys have some respectable gains year over year because you're still on that upward recovery trajectory. Now we're going to look at lodging metrics. So you'll see overall at the top that combines hotel, vacation rentals, and RV park campgrounds. And you'll see altogether occupancy was at 52.4%, which was down 6% year over year. And I do want to touch on this really quickly because I know we saw occupancy being down earlier when Tam presented the figures. A key thing to note there is occupancy is down, but your overall room supply is massively up year over year because, again, you're on the recovery trajectory. So your room supply for the county is up about 13% year over year in terms of the amount of rooms that are actually available. So occupancy being down 6% and supply being up over 13% means that if your supply had stayed the same, your occupancy would have been up a decent amount. So that's just something to keep in mind. Anytime you see a negative number, you see occupancy being down, people think, we're not driving occupancy. And, obviously occupancy could always be higher, but there is a bit of a silver lining there where, yep. And then for specifically hotels, we've got, as we saw similarly earlier, for the quarter, nearly 59.4%, nearly at 60% for hotels. ADR up about 9% year over year, and RevPAR right around $100 a room. And then again, for vacation rentals, about half that for occupancy at 33%. ADR significantly higher at $275, and RevPAR right around that $91 a room mark.
Quick question.
Yep.
Obviously, if we have more occupancy available,
Mm-hmm.
and the word hasn't gotten out, then that number would typically lag, I would guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there ever a concern that when occupancy is down and the daily rate is up, that there could be a correlation between the two, that if rates are going up, less people come?
There is a concern with that generally. That is something that people will raise. But it's just so destination specific in terms of who your visitor is. Because some destinations, their core visitor are used to higher rates, so that when they see them going up, they don't. It depends how budget conscious and how price sensitive your core visitor is. So it just really varies. But that's definitely something that could be impacting the occupancy.
The question came from a previous slide that you had too, where total visitors and room nights are up, yet direct spending is not up as much.
Yeah, well, that's something I can also touch on. So as you guys have probably heard, we're generally just seeing across the board, not just in Florida, but especially in Florida, but it's a national trend of visitors are taking slightly shorter trips and spending slightly less across the board. So their spend is getting more concentrated in lodging, and they're spending less on dining out and that sort of thing, just as visitors across the board nationwide are being slightly more budget conscious. I know Bank of America just posted their consumer update, and they had, for the first time since 2008, spending was down on restaurant and dining and shopping and all that sort of things.
And Councilman, I'll let the hotelier speak, but driving occupancy and ADR at the same time is very difficult. Sometimes you're more successful at driving one than the other. And our real challenge, that occupancy challenge, is every month we're injecting more availability, and it's just a catch-up mode. When a new hotel opens, it takes them about a year to come up to the occupancy of their competitive set, because it's just the nature of the beast, So we're injecting a lot more than just one hotel in over this past year. And so you're just seeing some challenges with occupancy because of that. But the good news is you see bed tax collections are up. More revenue, more demand is being generated, but it's a catch-up game.
Yep. And on top of that, one last thing, as much as, ADR is up 10% year over year, as someone touched on earlier, you've got neighboring communities that are putting up more and more luxury. And as the more luxury properties go up around you, the ADR for your properties becomes even more desirable to those visitors that are budget conscious. So your properties were already more desirable from that standpoint. And as more luxury properties go around you, you kind of just become even more desirable to that specific type of visitor. Yep. Okay, so this is the slide I was talking about with the 4-year comparison. So basically the road to recovery since 2022. And again, I do want to preface it, obviously, we're comparing since 2022, since that was the last year pre-Ian. But I also want to preface it with the fact that 2022 is a hard comp for anybody because it was the revenge spending year, especially here in Florida. Like 2020. Everyone's comparing to, so it kind of is unfortunate that you guys didn't get to have a normal post-COVID year before Ian. So your only pre-Ian comp is 2022, unless we go all the way back to 2019, and then it's apples to oranges there because you're comparing all the way to pre-COVID. So it's not an easy comparison to make, but I do think this is probably the best view of your post-Ian recovery. So as you'll see on the graphs, you can see it's not quite as significant of an increase year over year as we had from 23 to 24, but still a respectable increase there. And then here you see for spending and then also economic impact. So again, we already touched on spending earlier at $771 million just about, and economic impact is almost at almost 1.2 billion, 1.193 billion. Now we're going to talk about visitor origins and transportation is not on the slide, but visitor origins. So as you all know, your core demographic is the Midwest. We see the Midwest at 30%, then followed closely behind by the Northeast and the Southeast at 25 and 21% respectively. Also, something that's important to point out is that your international year over year was stronger than what we've seen across the state. And again, that's because you guys are comping to a recovery year. So there's people that maybe hadn't come back at all post-Ian yet, and we're starting to see them come back, a certain select few. And, that's why your year over year international is looking stronger than some of our other areas that we're seeing across Florida. And then as you all know, just nationally, it's a trend that we're seeing. It's harder right now to get those Canadians and Germans and Europeans, et cetera. So that's something that we're looking into to try to help the CVP potentially target additional areas of interest to bring additional international visitors in the meantime. And then for domestic origins, we see New York, Chicago, Philly, Atlanta, and Minneapolis as your top 5. And then we've got Boston, Detroit, and Washington, D.C. Doubled up there for some reason. For visitor profile, just really quickly, median age was 53. That was up year over year slightly. I think your median age last year was 50. First-time visitors, you had more first-time visitors this year than last year. It was up from 26% to 31%. Your median household income of your visitors was down very slightly, just a few $1,000s in annual income. And then traveled with children, we saw less visitors traveling with children, and your party size and length of stay were both down very slightly. Again, just matching a national trend that we're seeing of slightly less lengthy stays and slightly smaller travel parties. Now I'm going to jump into, we've changed this part of the report a little bit. So this part of the report used to be basically just the graph on the right and then a summary of the graph on the right. And now we've replaced that with a data point and an insight. This is after feedback from this board and similar boards of other client areas across the state. Boards are just wanting, as competition increases, you're wanting additional deeper dives, additional analysis that can kind of help you guys know what to do, next steps, and how to compete in this ever-evolving tourism landscape that we're seeing. So for the second consecutive year, beach and relaxation have increased as the reason for visiting. Not only is that definitely partially due to the recovery, as the beaches are more online, there's going to be more people coming for the beaches. But something that we wanted to touch on is that this aligns with the national trend of people taking vacations that have a relaxation focus. Now, at first glance, that might sound obvious, like obviously people are taking vacations with a relaxation focus. But post-COVID, has anyone here heard of JOMO? J-O-M. I know you probably heard of FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, there's a new term that's going around the tourism space, JOMO. And post-COVID, as more people, like myself, I work from home, as more people are working from home and their work and social life are getting everly more intertwined, and you can't get away from work and you can't get away from that world, people are just completely disconnecting, and their vacations, or at least that subset, their vacations are focusing even more than before on the being unplugged, being completely disconnected from that world while they're on vacation. And what better place to do that than in Fort Myers Beach, Fort Myers, Sanibel, Cape Coral, etc. So just wanted to touch on that if anyone, go ahead. JOMO is the joy of missing out. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so fear of missing out is the people that are overly connected, and you're always worried that if you're not checking social media, you're going to miss the next cool big thing. And joy of missing out is people who are taking they're happy that they're able to turn off their phone for a few days and just sit out on the beach. So now we're going to look at some promotion recall. So at the top right there, you'll see we asked a question in the survey that I'm sure you guys are familiar with. It asks, within the past 6 months before they booked their stay, did they see any advertising or promotions for the area? Of those people, 32% of them said that they had. And then we asked them what type of advertising or promotional material did they see. And as you'll see, social media topped the list this time. Social media, I believe, has topped the list before, but it's usually the internet, just like basic search engines and that sort of thing. But yeah, social media topped it and had the largest year-over-year increase this year, from like 36% up to 42%. So we wanted to point that out and see that that's a trend that we're seeing across many of our Florida destinations. And with that, the insight being that as social media's role in vacation planning continues to grow, the amount of attention that VCBs are putting on social media planning and multi-channel strategies and that sort of thing should likely also continue to grow. Community stayed. This is, again, touching on a bit of the recovery aspect. More visitors are staying in Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Island. Again, as more rooms open up on Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Island, the visitors are going to start filling those rooms more. So the largest year-over-year increases that we saw in terms of the share of visitors staying in the community was Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel Island for this quarter. Least liked features, again, someone touched on this earlier in terms of the construction, ongoing construction and that sort of thing. 10 percentage points fewer visitors mentioned the area's hurricane damage as a least liked feature. Construction noise and activity was also one of the largest year-over-year declines. So as someone touched on earlier, there is still a bit of that sentiment out there nationally and even potentially within the state that Lee County is not quite fully back online yet and not open for business. But it is getting better, and it is significantly better than where it stood a year ago. So again, many of the data points are showing a significant increase of bettering of the visitor perception related to overall recovery of the area. Then finally, satisfaction metrics. This goes hand in hand with the slide I just showed you. As people aren't seeing as much damage and as they're seeing the area recover, they're becoming more satisfied with their stay. They're finding less things that they don't like about their stay, and so one goes with the other. The amount that are reporting that they're very satisfied, very likely to return, or very likely to recommend were up significantly year over year. And again, these numbers, the 63, 66, 62, these are just the top line. So these are just the people who said they're very satisfied or very likely to return or recommend. The overall visitor satisfaction metrics are in the 90s, where they normally are in the high 80s to low to mid 90s. And if you include people who said they're likely or kind of likely. So again, the reason we like to focus on the top line is, as you expect, those are the people that, as you might expect, are the most likely to actually follow through and recommend the area to friends and family or to return next year, which we hope to see them again. With that, Here are some quotes. The main one I wanted to point out is the one at the bottom there, the fact that it's saying it's less crowded than other areas. So again, there's always a silver lining, as although you guys might be less crowded than other areas, potentially because of the road to recovery, that's also something that some visitors like. It makes them feel safer. It makes it easier to get in and out of the places that they want to go, that sort of thing. So there's always a silver lining with everything. And with that, any questions?
Thank you, James. Any questions for James?
All righty.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, James. Sir, with that, we've changed sirs here. Commissioner Rain did have to leave, so.
Thank you, Tam.
Vice Chair, my report is complete.
Thank you, Tam. And with that, we'll ask for the report of the Sports Development Director, Mr. Milky.
Good morning, Council. Thank you. I'm looking forward to giving you a really quick report for the 3 months of April, May, and June. Next slide. We had an amazing April, the best April we've ever had, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But 12,000 room nights filled, about 15,000 visitors, $5.2 million of direct visitor spending. Anchored by a lot of events. We had quite a few more events than we typically have in April, but you can see the Miss Florida Softball, National Collegiate Roller Hockey, College Hockey Showcase, and USA Swimming Open Water Southern Zones. What's kind of cool about this mix is that it touched just about every corner of our community and our municipalities. The Miss Florida was mostly Cape Coral. The National Collegiate Roller Hockey was at the downtown Stadium Center with the city of Fort Myers. College Hockey Showcase was down at Hertz Arena in Estero. USA Swimming Open Water Zones was on Fort Myers Beach at Lindholm Park in partnership with our Lee County Parks Department. So you can see here the jump. The reason for the jump is sometimes the stars align and we have a lot of one-off events that are unique and they come one time or they come every 4, 5, 6 years, and this was that year. The National Collegiate Roller Hockey, the last time they were back was 2017. They're supposed to come back in 21 for COVID. The facility wasn't available, and so they had to skip a cycle, and so we did get them back. So that was a big event, and we had to bid with our local swim organization, Gulf Coast Swim Team, to get the U.S. Swimming Southern Zones. And we get that about every 5 or 6 years, too. It's about 8 states in the southeastern United States that bid on it. So that was a fairly large event. We also had a bowling event in April, which are typically in June or May, and so that's why it bumped up. If you take those one-offs, though, we still would have had a great April of about 8,000 room nights. So April was a good month for us. May is more typical. 12,000, almost 13,000 room nights, about 14,000 visitors, $5.2 million direct visitor spending, anchored by starting to get into that baseball season. The perfect game, Memorial Day. We had a basketball championship down at Estero Rec Center in Waxahachie. I think this was our 12th year hosting the FHSAA Baseball State Championships, which was really cool this year because we had 3 local teams made it into the state semifinals. So one of those teams, Canterbury, won the state championship. So to have 3 local teams playing at home in front of their home students, home crowds, parents don't have to spend money to travel, was really good for us. And again, great partnership with Parks and Recreation, Minnesota Twins, and Mighty Muscles putting that event on. And then Mr. Kramer's crown jewel of our sports calendar is the American Hockey Coaches Association, working in collaboration with TAM's sales team, and we're able to offer them enough incentives so that they signed a 4-year commitment. And so we'll have the American Hockey Coaches Association there for the next 4 years, and hopefully for a long time. They were down in Naples for decades, so hopefully this is their new home.
You, Brian.
All right. Next slide, June. All right, so June, 18,400 room nights, almost 19,000 sports tourism visitors, $7.7 million in direct visitor spending, 9 perfect game events. This was going to be a weird year for perfect game in baseball because there was the All-Star game in Atlanta this year, which disrupted a whole bunch of their Atlanta business. They have a tournament that's got 700 or 800 teams that play in it. They all had to be displaced, and some of them squeezed into June and other destinations because we already had stuff going on down here. But needless to say, 9 events. The Babe Ruth with the city of Fort Myers and Fort Myers American was great. All Ivy hockey down at Hertz Arena, as well as the Florida Everblades, and then we did have a pretty sizable AAU volleyball tournament. It's hard to do volleyball in Lee County because we're the competitors around the state with the Wiregrass and Polk County big box large indoor centers. They can put 16, 18, 20 volleyball courts under one roof, and we're putting 6. And so, but we spread them out and give great customer service through the Parks and Rec department, and so we are still able to grab a hold of some volleyball business. So again, kind of a typical June. I'm looking ahead. I'm concerned that July is going to be a little down, mostly because perfect game again was disrupted with the All-Star game. Also, their biggest product that we have, which is called Baseball Championship Series, actually decreased 1 day. So again, it has to do with parents. They don't want to spend 6 and 7 days at tournaments. The feedback they got, so they have made their tournament a day shorter, and so that obviously affects some room nights. I did want to mention a couple of awarded events that we've gotten recently. Only the second time ever, our partnership with Cape Coral BMX Club, we're going to host the USA BMX Nationals next January. So that will be a heavy lift for them, but it's going to really showcase their club nationwide. And then also really happy to announce that the Kingdom of Netherlands has selected Fort Myers Lee County as their training center for their national baseball team before they play in the World Baseball Classic next year. So we will have them working out at Terry Park for a couple weeks next February. And again, that continues to evolve through, you'll remember we did a lot of stuff with Ireland's girls fast pitch softball team. So to have the Netherlands coming here, choosing Lee County over a lot of other destinations that they could have picked was good for us. The last thing I'll mention is in the packet. If you'll remember the last report I did, we were missing the Savannah Bananas report because we were still gathering data for February. It is now in the TEC report. We worked very similar to some comments we heard earlier today about trying to get zip codes for ticket sales, and when we put it all together, it was a pretty good event. There it is. We sold, it was a 3-day event at Jetblue Park. They ended up selling 33,700 tickets, of which 62% of those tickets were local, so those come out of our economic impact completely. But 13% were regional and 24% were out-of-state tickets sold. So when it was all said and done, we estimated that hotel revenue generated was about $672,000, and hotel bed tax generated was about $33,000. So it turned out to be, a really impactful event for us, and that's not even talking about the media value, the brand alliance between our destination and Jetblue Park and the Red Sox and Savannah Bananas. It was streamed on television many different times, and so we think it was a successful. And if there's any questions?
Any questions?
Can we get in the back of the schedule?
We will probably not ever get the Savannah Bananas back because of the size of the facilities they're playing. They're selling out Clemson football stadium. They just sold out Coors Field. We sold 2 nights or 3 nights out in Fenway. I don't know, Victor, if they've been in Zodiac, Twins Complex, but they're selling out major venues. So what they offer is to their second most popular team is the Party Animals. And so the Party Animals have broken away from the Savannah Bananas and are now leading their own tour. And so we have bid on Party Animals playing against one of their other teams. And so we'll see. We haven't found out yet where all the locations are going to be.
It's an enterprise, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff, thank you. For council information.
There are a lot of items in your packet, and this is what happens when I have 2 months to identify things that I think are of interest. But the very first one in your for council's information is our quarterly report on our activities with Visit Florida. And I know some of you like to use that when you speak to your legislators and tell them how important our relationship is with Visit Florida. So I just want to point that one out. And, you know, you've got a lot of reading for me if you so choose to partake in it.
So by a lot of reading, you mean over 250 pages?
Yes, sir. There are a number of statistical reports, one from our partners, our representation in England, talking about the UK market. There's several research reports in there. But good info. I wouldn't share it with you if I didn't think there was value. So if you're interested, read it, and if not, I get it. We're all swarmed.
Thank you, Tam.
Yep.
TDC member comments. We'll start with council members. Thank you. Brian? Thank you. Brian?
No comments today, thanks.
Nigel?
Well, just July 4th, just bring it up. It's becoming an all-day event in Bonita with the parade in the morning, which anywhere between 10 and 12,000 people show up for that now. So it's become something that's actually supporting the downtown, which is great. We actually held a workshop last week, and it was our Parks and Rec department that put it on, but very interesting that we had surprisingly good participation by the public. And the number 1 and 2 areas that they would like us to spend their tax dollars were the new aquatic center that we've been talking about, and Rails to Trails and the Trails project. So to see the support of the public on BERT, and for those of you who don't know, City of Bonita Springs has committed $17 million to that project. City of Estero has committed $15 million, and although Collier County has only said $1 million, I think there's more there. So we're about 40 to 45% of the way there. We're seeing other interests. So I think that's going to be a viable project going forward, which will affect both counties and certainly Lee County.
It's a great sounding project.
We just need money.
Don't we all? Thank you. All right.
Nothing to do.
Rob? Tony?
Just beach renourishment on Captiva starts supposedly pumping sand on September 4th, starting at Turner Beach going north. The total projects should be about 60 days unless we get some weather. But again, we're supposed to start staging eventually in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see if that all goes accordingly, how it works. But really how people do, especially when you go north of Greenwald, where there'll be a lot of severe erosion. So it should go 60 days. We hope it's all done. So just so you know.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Nope. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
So moved. Adjourn.
Take care, buddy.